What's
Hello,
up, Brian?
gentlemen. Welcome back. It's Confidently Wrong. We're here at the end of, what is this, the end of April already? Craziness. 2025 is just flying by. Sav, how you doing today?
Doing just dandy.
Oh, he's doing dandy again. Brian, how you doing?
I don't have an adjective like dandy at the ready.
No?
How about mercurial? I don't even know if I'm actually feeling that way. That's just the first
That's
word
a
Yeah,
that
good
I'm
popped
just
in my
like,
head.
okay, dang, you all right?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yesterday was the first day I got 8 hours of sleep, I think, in probably 4 months, something like that. So, feeling nice.
Congratulations to you, Wes. I'm
Hey.
glad you discovered
8 hours.
melatonin.
8 hours. All right. This episode is mostly going to be what we're loving, but by the time this episode comes out, we'll have had a few Last of Us. But when we're recording this, we've only been able to see one Last of Us, and so we got the premiere of season 2 on HBO and HBO Max. So we thought we'd just do a quick little, first impression on the first episode. By the time you hear this, this may be age like spoiled milk. We'll see what our takes are in the next 3 weeks. But Brian, you got to see the first episode. We're back in the world of Ellie and Joel. What were some of your first impressions? What did you like about it? No spoilers, please, because I think season 2 of The Last of Us, if you haven't played the game, there's a lot of cool twists and turns that'll come. But we want people to kind of enjoy the show.
You damn right.
I like that it was nice and slow, right? They're just setting things up and taking their time, which I appreciate. It's almost like a lot doesn't happen in the episode.
A lot,
and yet or very little happens in the episode. Sorry, that's a little weird grammar. Very little happens in terms of plot, and yet I feel the tension and the goodness that is the sad, twisted world of The Last of Us. And then I just want to point out one thing that did really pop out to me was just the fact that they had this random scene where they're fixing the piping of a house and they see the tree roots climbing through that piping, and then at the end of the episode there's like mycelium coming through, and that is a new thing that the game did not have. So I'm very curious where they're gonna take that little plot point.
Sav?
Yeah, I like the same kind of cosign with Brian said. I like the taking things slow. It's dope that the video game gives them such great source material to work with, but as we saw in season 1 of the show, they did a good job of oscillating between moments that are almost a one-to-one from the game, of like, oh, they copied dialogue shot for shot, even the camera work, and then moments that are so drastically different you wouldn't even recognize it from the series. I'm excited that we're already getting bits of that. We get to have that cool sniper conversation with Ellie and
Tommy.
Thank you. With Ellie and Tommy, which was directly in the game, talking about, Joel being overprotective, her shooting, all that good stuff. But then we get totally new stuff like Joel being in therapy and him.
Catherine O'Hara, shout out. Did not expect her to show up here.
Yeah, and him and us,
Kevin!
and us getting some like introspective Joel that we didn't really get before. So I'm already like impressed with cool. They're gonna probably strike a really good balance between this was one-to-one in the game, copy that exactly because it was really well done. Here's our chance to really flesh out something that probably wouldn't have worked in a video game as well, but will still be good for storytelling purposes. Like, it's really cool that Joel's biggest struggle is that his relationship with Ellie is in the shitter and he feels awful. And to everyone around him, it just looks like generic, your teenage daughter figure doesn't like you. And it's like, oh, boo effing who. And everyone's like, oh, what's the big deal? Oh, your teen doesn't like you. Yeah, what else is new? And it's just like, they did a good job of creating that new feeling of Joel feeling truly isolated, and that it's like, yo, man, my world, this important thing in my world that's nothing to the rest of y'all's is something that I also just can't talk about. And that's rough.
Yeah.
But, or even the bits of, and also I like the line of Joel saying, like, insisting, because I'm a good person. And I like
Keep
that
telling yourself that, Joel.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh, I like that. it was a very human moment of Joel of like, oh, I see why you feel that, but you have to see why people don't feel that.
Well, they don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm talking us, the audience.
Yeah,
I'm talking the audience. Us as the audience get a. I don't know. I like. I'm already excited for. Oh, what are they gonna do? That is something that even if you played the game, you have no idea. It's totally new and it's gonna catch you off guard.
Cool.
And if we get more stuff like the therapy scene, I'm excited.
Yeah, hopefully, right? And they revealed, they were like, "Oh, Joel, you killed my husband," right? I don't think that was part of the show where like we met a character who he had actually killed.
Yeah, I don't know this Eugene person that he killed.
So, pretty interesting that like he's having to get therapy from the person that he's caused a direct harm to. That was a cool twist. I was like, whoa, yeah, that would be really difficult. Like, I'm not sure I could be in her shoes and try and actually help him. Like, I'd be like, fuck you, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here, you know? The thing that stood out to me, or a couple things that stood out to me, were like, even though I played the game, it really just stuck out to me like how broken right now the relationship between Ellie and Joel is. And I think that was obviously intentional in what the show was going for, but that was just like, oh man, we are not in the same like, you know, togetherness story that we really saw them grow and get closer and closer and really enjoy each other, to the point where like Ellie was using her puns on him, and she was protecting, and they were protecting each other right throughout that first show. And now we're like thrown into this world where all of a sudden it's like, yo, get the fuck away from me, right? Like, what the fuck are you doing trying to like be my father and all this stuff? And it's like, oh, something happened, you know, and that amount of like hurt and rage and like confusion on the part of Joel as to like why this is happening to him, or why he pretends at least to be kind of in denial about it. And that was just like, oh, like I love that like we get this time jump for that to happen, so that the story can be switched up and it can be new and it doesn't just have to be a direct continuation, but it's like, whoa, like what is happening here? And like, I think they did a great job introducing new characters. Like Brian, before we started recording, said like Dina's been great, and I thought she's fantastic and a great like contrast to Ellie, right? And her amount of like joy and happiness that she brings and silliness that she brings in and brings out of Ellie in some ways. So that's kind of what I went into, and then and it seems like Ellie is much more confident, maybe to the point of cockiness, right? But she's much more confident in her ability to like deal with clickers and deal with the infected. So I think that's all kind of cool. And then just production wise, HBO clearly spent a lot. They clearly built this like whole town in the middle of nowhere, in like the Arctic or something, where it's just like snowing all the time and you get these great mountain scenes. So I don't know. I'm excited for this season. I think we're gonna see great things. And then obviously we know that there's some spoilers coming, but we'll see how they drop those spoilers on us. Should people watch it, Brian? Should people be watching the show?
Yeah, of course.
Sav, should people be watching this show?
Yes.
Friends, you got to be watching this show. Everybody's going to be talking about it. All right. We'll come back to this hopefully maybe halfway through the season and then at the end of the season, to really kind of break down what we've been seeing and what we've enjoyed about it. And those will have spoilers. So good times. All right, friends, let's get into it. What we're loving. Savon, I want to hear what we're loving this week.
Yeah, this is a pretty simple what we're loving. I've been looking for some new shows to watch, and I've really just needed a good old-fashioned comedy, just some good old laughs.
Okay.
Enough of the big.
I don't imagine you watching
ending.
comedy. What kind of comedy shows do you like? Well,
what? How dare you?
Do you even laugh, Savon?
First of all, how dare you?
I know. I don't know. You never talk about it. You watch Abbott Elementary. I know that's kind of a comedy. That is a comedy. What else?
Which I'm surprised by, because usually you prefer escapism, and Abbott Elementary, I think,
maybe true.
Like your real life in some regard.
Abbott is so good because it's an accurate show about working in education without being a depressing downer show, but also is really
so
funny.
That's the escapist part.
No, it's like it's authentic but lighthearted and funny still. Like it's authentic without pulling punches, but it manages to be humorous about it. Like there's still school budget nonsense, but like they do it in a way that's really humorous format and show. Also, Abbott's writing is I am their target audience. A lot of the jokes are just like, oh man, I was clearly in the intended audience for
you
this,
and Quinta Brunson are simpatico here.
Her jokes are like, she makes some jokes of like, oh, that was a deep cut. Yeah, I was the intended audience for that one.
So what?
Anyways,
Wait, can you give us a sense of what your other comedy like preferences have been in the past?
I watch a lot of stand-up. I watch a lot of like comedic random YouTube channels that will just have random skits and stuff. There's still old sketch comedy shows I watch. Like I still watch open episodes of like Whitest Kids You Know and all that. I love funny stuff.
You just sound like Kawhi.
Yeah. Look, I love funny.
I love laughing.
I love to laugh.
But
I do love just a good old fashioned like comedy. Like even the shows, like I watched some episode of, like The Righteous Gemstones. I love a good just comedy.
I haven't seen that. Okay.
It's hilarious. Anyways, what I've been watching lately is What We Do in the Shadows. I've never heard of it. Never heard of it.
That's a combination of like two things that you like then.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hit the... So I saw this reel on Instagram, and it was a bit about a guy who I guess he's a vampire, but he looks like a regular white middle-aged guy. And the joke is that he's an energy vampire, and his whole bit is by being annoying to you or pissing you off to drain your energy. And I feel like I talked about this show on this pod before. Maybe I don't think
so.
I can't remember if we talked about it just
in the pre-show. Was it?
Yeah,
pre-show?
just as conversation.
Yeah,
if you actually did this on the podcast.
I don't think you talked about it on the show.
I think we did this in a pre-show. It's been in a pre-show thing because now I'm having deja vu. But the show is hilarious because it's called What
Did
We
we
Do
describe Wes as an energy vampire?
Yes, I feel like we talked. That's so tripping about this. But the dude's whole bit is that he annoys people, and then that's how he drains their energy. And I saw that on like Instagram. I was like, yo. He's like a rage baiter on the internet trolling, and then that's how he sustains himself. I was like, dude, this is effing hilarious. Where is this from? Friend of the show, Mike, was like, oh, that's from that show, What We Do in the Shadows. And I was like, oh, I need to watch this shit. And so just off that Instagram clip, I went, found the show, started watching it. It is so funny. It's an FX comedy, so FX, for context, you curse. It's a TVMA show, so they drop F-bombs. It's an adult show. But it's a mockumentary style comedy, so I'm sure it's a pretty well done genre at this point. Also, it's from the creators of not Interview with a Vampire? No, the actual movie, What We Do in the Shadows by Taika Waititi.
Which is also hilarious.
Yeah, which is, so the whole premise...
Flight of the Conchords guy.
Thank you. So the whole premise is that vampires and supernatural creatures are real. They exist in our modern world. Vampires, werewolves, trolls, magical creatures, necromancers, zombies, shit like that. But the show focuses on a house of vampires, a married couple named Nadja and Laszlo, a former conqueror named Nandor, and then the energy vampire, middle-aged white guy named Colin Robinson. The show is like documentary style, so there's a camera crew following them around, and it just documents this house of vampires that live together and just their hijinks in the modern world.
They live in Staten Island, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful because I don't know New York well. They live in like this old gothic-looking house in Staten Island, but then they're just effing vampires, and like they're egregiously vampires. Like they still dress like European old style Dracula, talking very funny, dramatic British accents because two of the actors are British. Yeah, I mean all the cast are they're all British people, so they're in New York with these British accents, dressing all posh and the accents, but they're vampires, so they're just doing shit. And so the main point of the humor from the show is that they haven't acclimated to modern times really at all, but they still have to do shit. And it's them navigating the real world and getting into shenanigans.
Do any of them do vampire actually bite people, or
they do some of the main humor from this show is just vampire tropes. So there's a consistent joke of if they want to enter someplace, someone needs to invite them in. Like they were trying to free one dude their friend got turned into a bat, caught by animal control, caught into the animal control place in bat form. The vampire friends are trying to break them out. They go up to the SPCA building and they're trying to get the dude to word it in a way of, excuse me, can we come in? And he's not answering it in a way that's yeah, so they're all sitting outside and he's like, yeah, sure. And then you hear a little sound effect and they just waltz in. They lean into jokes like that, or them being able to control people. They have the full vampire power set but it's played for laughs rather than for them being powerful. They think a neighbor at they go to a Super Bowl game and they think it's called the Superb Owl. So they think they're supposed to be going to some kind of thing and they're at the Super Bowl party and this is our European neighbors. They act like vampires. They think they've been made. They try to brainwash a dude with their vampire powers, but end up scrambling his brain. It's very much wacky hijinks, but they still are vampires, so they hunt. Like, they hunt people, they suck blood, they kill people, they have a familiar. So there's this weird mix of, like, pure slapstick comedy and them being complete idiot goofballs, but then also moments of, like, them snatching somebody from the park and eating them.
Oh,
or, the married vampire couple walking through the park at night on, like, a lovely date and saying, oh, look at them. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And then they teleport to someone, suck their blood, and eat them. Like, and there's blood. They don't, like, downplay it. They play it for laughs. But it's silly. It's funny. They play into the supernatural tropes well. The guest stars are amazing. Like, Nicholas Kroll has appeared. Mark Hamill's appeared. There's a Vampire Council episode where I think we get Wesley Snipes, Tilda
and he
Swinton.
plays Blade.
He plays Blade.
He's a half man, half vampire.
And he's like, yeah, but it's just this weird mix of the vampires are really grandiose and over the top, but also you meet ones who are very mundane and chill too. And how that all bounces around is just hysterical. On top of just, if you know supernatural shit and like vampire lore, they just lean into those jokes heavily of sunlight, not being able to be in the sun, not being able to eat human food, keeping up their disguise, and there's a lot of other just bits and jokes in the show. But
do you need to keep up your disguise in New York? I feel like you could wear a costume and it'd be fine.
I mean, that's one of those
you watch the show.
People don't know that they're vampires, but there's moments in plot lines where, like, yes, like one character, he's from his former country, from his old life hundreds of years ago, 1,000 years ago. That country no longer exists, and he decides to get his American citizenship. But he's a 1,000-year-old Iranian vampire who is an idiot, so he has no idea of how to pass the citizenship test. And there's moments where they start acting about, like, birth records and certificates, and they even make a joke of him trying to mind control the federal agent at the immigration office to get his citizenship, and he's like, like, powers don't work. These government workers, it's like they're soulless. It's like they've lost their soul. Like, and so the joke is that he can't mind control them to get his,
because they're drones.
Because they're just government drones who are just, why are you waving your hand?
Yeah.
But throughout the show, it's if you're into like the supernatural bits and stuff, a little bit of slapstick mockumentary humor, but there is like some like body humor in terms of blood and characters getting like hurt, not in like a gross way, but like there's blood if you're just not into that. But it's a funny show and it's a great palate cleanser. I'm already halfway through season 2, and
oh my goodness,
there's just so much more. I mean, I've been watching for like a week and a half, 2 weeks now, but there's just so much more show to watch.
That's a lot of TV. Cool.
This last season, they actually go into a workplace comedy situation through Guillermo, who's one of my favorite characters on the show. Who's this clan of vampires, that's their familiar, right? This human guy, like schlubby, kind of overweight dude, who's kind of like kind and jovial, and who just really wants to become a vampire. He's just waiting for them to bite him
because
so
of the Antonio Banderas movie. Because of the Antonio Banderas movie, and his whole bit is like he's like a Twilight Antonio Banderas, and he has this romanticized vampire view.
All right.
So half the show is him being like their butler and just hoping to get turned, and it's like they keep roping him along.
Just a big fanboy.
They just make him do like nasty stuff, like clean up after the orgy,
or lure virgins to them because they're vampires. They like virgin blood. Like, that's a bit. So there's an entire bit in the show of his job for them is to him going to like LARPing sessions and places where there'll be virgins to lure them to the house with the vampires. So it's just like, oh yeah, these people are definitely virgins.
That's funny. All right.
Yeah, loving it. Watch it. It's great. It's on FX. What We Do in the Shadows.
Sounds good. I'm intrigued. I think maybe I'll have to watch a couple episodes. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about my What We're Loving, and I'm not proud of it. Just to be clear,
what
on the heads up.
God. If you're not proud of it, then what the hell are we about to be, Brian?
At least it's a thing this time, rather than me just saying how I love picking weeds.
I'm desensitized to Wes's picks at this point.
So
lay it on us.
We know that, Sony has put out some pretty terrible Marvel movies like Craven and Madam Web and basically everything that they've done, right? It's not been a good run for Sony in the past, let's say 10 or 15 years. So much so that they got Marvel to basically take over production of Spider-Man, even though Spider-Man movies are technically still part of their thing. They had to reach an agreement where it was like, okay, we'll let Marvel Studios kind of dictate what happens in the Spider-Man movies. But we still own the rights, and Marvel's been like, okay, fine, we'll do that, so you don't keep fucking up our our characters on screen. So I recently watched 2 of the 3 more recent Venom movies starring Tom Hardy, and I was expecting that it would be kind of bad in the same way that the Madam Web movie got lampooned and terribly skewered, and Craven, no one even talked about it because it was so bad that I was pleasantly surprised that the first 2, at least, I haven't watched the last one yet. I plan to at some point soon here. The first Venom movie, and then Venom, I think it's called Last Carnage, or no, There Will Be Carnage, something like that. Venom, There Will Be Carnage.
But there's 3 of them, right?
And there's 3 ones. Recently, I think a year ago,
the names. What does that say?
The last one was called The Last Dance. And I forget when that released. It was last year.
He's
sometime.
trying to go out like
No,
Jordan.
it's just a Michael Jordan. That's not even like. It's just the Michael Jordan documentary.
Well, maybe it's based on a Venom comic book series, and then maybe that was based on Michael
He
Jordan.
used to be a ballerina. He wanted to go out with a bang. One more performance at Carnegie Hall.
Well, let me just say this. I really enjoyed both of those first 2 movies. And I have to admit, partly it was because I expected nothing from them and I expected them to be bad. So pleasantly exceeded expectations, which is, I think, critical to enjoying a lot of things. Is you just
That's how I live my life, man. Set a low bar so you can exceed it.
You never do this for any of the shows we watch, and you do this for effing Venom?
That's because I didn't have any hopes for Venom. I do have hopes for the shows we watch. I want to see them. But anyways, so I set a low bar. I went in thinking these are probably going to be bad, but they'll be good for like background noise while I'm doing work or grading papers or whatever.
Wait, why did you even decide to turn them on? Curiosity?
You could have put on anything else.
Mostly curiosity.
You
And I
had
was
this like on your to-do list?
It was like on my to-do list that I have in my head that I don't think about very often.
God
So
gave
like,
you free will, and that's what you do with it?
At some
Yeah, there's so many other options out there.
Okay.
So many.
But like highly entertaining. I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. There's some actually like decent writing, and like most of the plot makes sense. The characters are like fully realized. You're like, oh man, especially Tom Hardy. I mean, he makes it work great. If you're not sure if Tom Hardy can be the lead in a movie, watch Venom and tell me I'm wrong. That man can lead a movie. And
To the shitter.
Be a star, be magnetic, be like really entertaining. Feel real, feel like a real person who's going through real struggles. One of the main setups is like he has this like relationship with I don't even know her name, but she's played by Michelle Williams from, I don't know what, Dawson's Creek, and what else? She's Brokeback Mountain. She was famous for that, I think. It doesn't matter. Michelle Williams does also a pretty good job. But the thing that actually really works really well is they make Venom and Tom Hardy talk to each other. So like either Venom is in his head and talking to him, or like sometimes they make Venom like actually come out as just a head that's talking to him. And for whatever reason, these scenes like really work. I've been so enjoyable because Venom just like shit talks him the whole time. He's like, "You're terrible at this, and we must love Anne, and I love Anne. Go talk to her." And he's like, "What?" And he like has to go talk to Anne because Venom wants to. And Venom always wants to eat brains.
It sounds like an 80s comedy movie.
I mean,
like
maybe
Teen Wolf or something.
Maybe
this would have been better if it came out in
1985.
Yes, this movie suffered from maybe just existing in the wrong era, because everything you're liking about this movie, I'm just like, yeah, this would have been cool when I was like a
Gremlins.
kid. Yeah, like this would have been cool like when I was a kid, but my adult sensibilities.
No,
but you know what? I'm sorry, I'm not going to yuck your yum. Keep hyping up your movie. Keep hyping up your Venom
funny.
movie.
Like, it was really enjoyable. There's some good action scenes. I mean, some of it's like ridiculous. Like in one of them,
Yeah, just some of
A
it.
character is, I think it's Shriek. Do you guys know Shriek?
Uh-huh.
So she's like, in the movie they make her as someone who can just like scream really loudly and it like pierces things. But like that's one of the symbiote's weaknesses is like a certain frequency of sound, and she like tortures them, or not when she uses her powers it hurts them. But like, I mean, one of the silliness is like they like ring a bell, which like also I guess affects the symbiotes, like a big church bell. But then the bell like falls down like on top of her and kills her. So like, you know, like we could have found a better way to kill her. But overall, very enjoyable. And I don't know, I just enjoyed it. Woody Harrelson is in the second one. I think the second one's probably marginally better than the first one. Because they don't.
So it got better.
Yeah, they don't have to do any of the like origin story stuff. They can just let them like be funny characters together. And it's kind of like a buddy cop movie almost.
What is
at
the
that
origin
point.
story in these Venom movies where Spider-Man doesn't exist?
I think they're on like a meteorite or something.
It's the same deal, right? Symbiote from space comes from that planet Kleintar or whatever, and all that shit, and then
but no Spider-Man, right?
No Spider-Man.
And in this, Brock is
he's
doesn't work for the Daily Bugle.
No, he's an investigative reporter. Maybe he works for the Bugle for a minute, but I think he works for a separate thing.
He's like in San Francisco or something in this, right?
Later on, yeah, he ends up in San Francisco. But I think he's in New York at first. He just gets like tossed, like sent out of town. Or maybe he's in, I don't know. He's like an investigative reporter, but like he always wants to like get to the truth, and he's not afraid to say it, but because of that sometimes he gets like in trouble, and then they have to fire him because he's
a hard-nosed reporter who doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
Brock, this story's bad for the paper. The people need to know the truth. You're off the case.
Yeah, so he gets fired at some point from his job, and then like he kind of gets rehired back.
And he starts a blog.
Yeah, and he starts a vlog actually. He starts his own video show. Because it's the era of YouTube.
What? That sounds terrible.
You were joking saying blog. Wes up the ante said no, a vlog actually.
I mean, it's clear that he's not on top of his like of the world. He's not. He lives like a schlubby apartment sometimes, or many of the times. But he's clearly like a good investigator in terms of like he does get to the truth. It's just he doesn't know how to like be a people person. So he doesn't understand like you gotta like actually like back your shit up with like a lot of he doesn't read the room, which is what gets him in trouble with his girlfriend too, or ex-girlfriend, pretty early on. So
are these movies meant to be funny, or you just took it as funny?
The interactions between Venom and Brock are definitely meant to be funny. They're played for laughs. Some of the other stuff I'm sure is like maybe they didn't mean it to be funny, but it kind of was funny. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think people should watch it. Don't go pay for it. Like, go watch it on streaming. Because I think the first one and third one are available on streaming services you probably already have. The second one is not. The second one I had to. The second one I might have had to visit. May have allegedly visited one of those like streaming sites that just shows movies, and it's really frustrating because they do the thing where like you can't click on any of the controls until you go through like 4 pop-up ads. So anytime you wanted to like pause or turn up the volume or make it full screen or not full screen, I had to go through like 8 ads before I could do that, which, made it annoying. But whatever. Enjoyable. Go watch them. I recommend them. Way better than anything else that Sony has put out. And probably better than some Marvel movies, not gonna lie.
Have you seen Kraven yet? How could you make that statement?
I have not seen Kraven. I probably won't. But maybe I will one day. In like 10 years, I'll be like, you know what? I never saw that Kraven movie. I better go check it out.
Maybe if Kraven's on at a bar and I'm at the bar and I'm stuck there and I'm trashed, maybe I'll glance at it occasionally.
I don't know. I really enjoyed the interaction between Venom and Eddie Brock. They were really good. They had good chemistry together, like as characters. And I think it's weird because Tom Hardy voiced Venom also, so he had good chemistry with himself, which like maybe not easy to do, but he did it. Well done. High five to them. You guys should watch it if you haven't seen it yet.
I'm about to watch those films.
You should watch it.
I saw the first one. I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't?
No.
What didn't you like about it?
I think that
maybe you expected too much from it.
I expected nothing from it.
Oh, well then what did you like about it?
I think the entire way that they did Venom of just trying to be this like somewhat funny thing just hard missed for me.
Okay.
Like when there's that whole line about I'll eat your legs and then you'll just rolling. a turd in the wind. I was like, cool, I'm good on this. I've seen all I can see.
Oh, that joke was written for Wesley.
It reminded me of like a worse version of the Deadpool versus Wolverine humor of like, oh my God, is this just an edgy 13-year-old in the 2000s internet writing these jokes? I'm good on that.
All right.
It's like one of those, I've seen enough. But immediately when they went with goofy, slapstick, funny Venom, but with deep, goofy voice, I was like, get this shit out of my face.
Oh, interesting. You wanted Venom to be still like terrifying the entire time.
I would have liked it to have played. I would have liked to have played their relationship more antagonistic, back and forth pull rather than buddy cop.
I think
the
that's
Venom
fair.
movies lean into buddy cop, and I just don't get it. I just like
all right.
The Venom Brock relationship never came off as buddy cop to me. Blue Beetle feels more buddy cop, but not not this shit.
I thought it worked. I'm
That's
all
why
in.
you
I
watched the
respect
movie.
that.
That's why you
Was
talking
it
about
better
it right
than
now.
Blue Beetle? That's a good question.
I think so. Better than Blue Beetle, yeah.
So what?
Not so much the there wasn't like the family comes through and saves the day though, which like I kind of liked about Blue Beetle.
The Scarab was a more interesting character than Venom. But I just think Venom was
awesome.
The Venom is so cringe that like it single-handedly throws the entire. Look, stop! Look, you gonna keep asking me about the damn movie? I'm not gonna have nothing nice to say.
Yeah, Brian.
I think. Wait. So I just got to know, right? Like, I think Venom is going to get roped into the rest of the MCU. I mean, it's already been hinted at, right? There, the last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
and
the
credits.
post-credit scene.
So, given the context of the MCU, what is Venom a little better than, and what is it a little worse than?
I don't know. It's hard to put into context. And remember, I'm doing this while I'm working, so I'm not 100% locked in. I'm like 85%.
I think that probably helps
in.
make the movie better. Am
it
I right?
does. Yeah, I think so. It was great. And like the slower moments that like, maybe like, like nitpicking their, like whatever, doesn't matter.
I'm gonna go take a piss.
Yeah. Well, I'll just keep grading this lab that I'm trying to grade. Let's see. What is it better than?
Is it better than the Marvels?
Yeah, it's probably on like. Well, for me, it was like maybe similar tier. Probably not quite as good.
The Marvels was pretty bad. The Marvels was bad.
It was not.
Who was the main villain of that movie?
I don't remember. Wow, I have no idea.
Was there a main villain?
Yes.
Who was the main villain?
I think
exactly.
It was like
Remind us.
It was a lady. It was
something?
a lady who was a remnant of the old Kree who was mad because the girl blew up their planet, so she was stealing sun energy from everyone. We don't even know her damn name. I don't have nothing. Moving on. I've made my point.
All right. Well, maybe it was better than that. I don't know. I enjoyed this. And when Carnage shows up in the second one, that one's pretty cool too.
If you're a Venom fanboy, I get why you would enjoy these movies, and I'm glad those movies were made for y'all.
Okay. No,
I think Venom fanboys would be more like you, Savon, where they'd be like, oh, I expect this to be like really hard-hitting and scary and all this kind of thing.
Tonally, I always expected Venom to be a quasi, not horror, but horror elements, body horror, rated R movie that you do almost like a Blade movie of, hey, this character story and what they do is too gritty to ever be a PG-13 movie. So go all out and make it rated R so you can do it right. They didn't want to do that because that probably would have cost them too much money to do a Spider-Man character for an adult movie. So you get a version of Venom who, in my opinion, is they watered down his violent tendencies by making it humorous. They play it for laughs, like rather than Eddie Brock's actually trying not to murder a person because he's got this thing in his body. They make it a ha-ha rather than a oh shit. For some people, that's cool. For me, that's like a pass. But I'm glad you were enjoying these movies.
I did. I enjoyed it. I loved it enough that I wanted to talk about it on this podcast.
And more power to you, big dog.
Add that to your tally of wins.
Go watch The Last Dance and report back to us.
All right, I will. It's on my docket of things to do after the AP exam. All right, Brian. Now that I've set the bar very low for you, you get
Thank you. That's what you do for me, Wes.
You get to clear the bar super
high.
high.
I'm gonna soar over this thing.
Jokic could jump over that bar.
All right, what are you loving?
Is Jokic even jump? I don't know if I've ever seen him jump.
That man couldn't clear a phone book. Still the best player in the world.
Is it the Knicks? Is your what we're loving the Knicks?
No.
Okay.
I'm not loving the Knicks because I don't feel good about their chances. But anyway, what I'm loving One, I just wanted to point out, like, TV for the first half of 2025 has been really good. Am I wrong here? Like,
there's been a lot that I've
I
wanted
was
to see.
complaining about last year being weak, but yeah, there's been.
White Lotus and Severance. I haven't watched those shows.
Severance, we're getting Silo, we got White Lotus, Last of Us, we got Adolescence, like The Residence is pretty good. Like
Andor.
There's just like a lot of good stuff coming out. Yeah, Andor's on the doorstep. I mean, I assume it's going to be good.
Daredevil?
We don't know yet.
Daredevil
was great.
Elementary still going strong.
So a lot of good stuff going on. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was a pleasant surprise.
Righteous Gemstones.
But
was
anyway, so like in that context, I just want to say there's a lot of good stuff. But lately, the thing that I have been basically using as my daily palate cleanser has been the show The Studio with Seth Rogen, which is maybe kind of surprising.
I heard about that.
Seth Rogen you can either love him or hate him, I think. And his little silly laugh, right? But it seems like in the past few years, all the projects that he has executive produced are kind of
Invincible.
him and his writing partner Evan Goldberg, I think his name, right? Invincible is his thing. I'm blanking on other recent stuff.
It was that one.
Yeah, The Boys is definitely one of his projects as well.
He did that one with Rose Byrne where they were like best friends or friends,
which I definitely like. I think that's a sleeper good.
Yeah, did you do a
rom-com?
You might have done a What We're Loving on that. That's how I got into it.
I think maybe I'm in love with Seth Rogen. So
he's
the
in his
studio
era. He's in his post-weed just nerd era now.
This is what happens.
Fucking weed giggling. Nah, man, I actually do this.
He's like one of those guys where, like, okay, he reached a certain level, so now he can actually be legit to who he is. Kind of like when music artists, they make some like poppy ass shit, and then they finally make the real thing. They make their masterpiece after that.
They're not working for money anymore. They're working.
Because he already has the money, so he can do whatever he wants. So The Studio is this show, which is basically a send up of Hollywood, right? Where he as the bumbling, anxious idiot that he is, becomes the head of a major Hollywood movie studio. And he's like this guy who, he wanted to be in the movies because he's so in love with cinema and like loves Martin Scorsese and stuff like that. And he gets thrust into this job as the head of a Hollywood movie. And in the first episode, the very first movie that he is responsible for is making a movie about Kool-Aid. Like the character, the Kool-Aid man character, right? Like the big pitcher of red juice that jumps through a wall and says, "Oh yeah." And like, and so like he, you can just imagine the conflict, right? Of like, oh, this guy who loves cinema, but
has to do this money making.
I gotta
venture.
make the Barbie version of Kool-Aid. And so what makes the show interesting is that not only is he trying to, live out his cinema fantasies, but in the economic reality of a Hollywood studio, but the show also always has really great guest stars in every episode. So that first episode, Martin Scorsese is in the show, and he disappoints Martin Scorsese to the point where Scorsese is like crying in the background, right? Charlize Theron shows up. In another episode, he gets into this like angry shouting match with Ron Howard over A Beautiful Mind, which is like a great moment. But the episode that I really wanted to talk about and highlight was episode 2 or 3, and it's called The Oneer. And I bring it up because we spent a recent podcast talking about one take efforts in movies and shows, specifically in Adolescence, where every episode is just shot in one take. And so this episode of The Studio is also shot in one take, which they do a lot of in other episodes too, of long one take shots. But this episode is just one single take. It's about him as a studio head visiting the set of a movie that is doing a long one take shot, right? So it's like super meta. And because he's a bumbling idiot, he keeps getting in the way of them trying to get that one take perfect, right? Like he's like too loud in the background. He's, like he keeps like wondering like, oh, I gotta like I want to talk to the star in this, who's Greta Lee, and like, and then so she's like late for her take, and he's giving notes to the director who obviously doesn't want notes for this thing. And like you have all these people saying like, yo, we're gonna lose the light, we're gonna lose the shot, and he's like, no, but I think you should have her take a toke of the cigarette and then flick it. And then like the director is like, fine, we'll fucking do it. And like you just feel the crazy anxiety of everything going on that they're trying to do to get this one take. And then, it culminates with him like making a huge mess in the middle of the shot. And then they got to do it again. And, it really just shows what I was talking about of why one takes are really special, because they're so hard to get. And the episode just does this perfect job.
It was a one take about a one take gone wrong.
Yeah.
And the episode is called The Oner. It might as well be called The Boner, because they fucking effed it up. But it's, and
I thought you were gonna say because it was really hard. I was just like, okay.
It works both ways. Look, whichever way you want your boner.
Finish the live with a layup. That's fine too. A little layup alley live. All right. So, do these characters, do they play like fictionalized versions of themselves, or is it one of those like meta they play themselves, or is it a mix? Like
every time that there's a guest cameo, that person is playing themselves. So Anthony Mackie plays Anthony Mackie in a Ron Howard movie where Ron Howard is playing the director Ron Howard. And that makes everything even more hilarious, right? Because like Anthony Mackie is like freaking out about the movie, but then kissing Ron Howard's ass in another scene because he doesn't want to divulge that he doesn't think the movie is good.
Yeah, I love when they have any show where actors come in and play like slightly fictionalized, ideally like campy, amped up parody versions of themselves. I love that shit. Like, that's why Curb is so funny. Like, okay, that is enough to sell me on the show of, oh, fictional versions of these people just being ridiculous, hopefully parodies of themselves. All right, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And it's almost exactly that. It feels a lot like Curb Your Enthusiasm, but on the backlot of a movie studio.
Okay.
And so like every episode just spirals out of control of nonsense. And you can actually even watch them
Catherine Hahn's in this?
Like you could just like drop in on a single episode and watch it. And, because of how it's written, like it's just like a good bite-sized thing. You don't even need to track what's going on in the whole season or whatever. And that's why I recommend just watching the Oner episode, because it works so well.
Nice.
Okay. Oh, dang.
Would you say that it's more of a satire of Hollywood production, or would you say it's more of a love letter to Hollywood production? I know it can be both.
It's both.
But,
it's definitely both, because like I said, like the main character loves movies, and they're kind of showing you in his all his foolish trials and tribulations why movies are great, and and the cool people that are around movies, and like how things get made, and all of that. But then of course, he's got to deal with some narcissistic bastards. He's got to deal with the money people. He's got to deal with, directors who sabotage their own movies, and actors who want everything under the sun. And then of course, like the money person that wants Kool-Aid to be made. So it, you get it goes both ways. The boner goes both ways.
What? All right. Great. Okay.
That was just for you, Wes.
So that's where we're at. That's our What We're Loving episode.
Brian needs like an editor or a writer for some of this stuff. Like, I feel like Brian's like, hey man, you need a writer. You need some cue cards. I feel like you got some.
Hey man, you took me there, man. You took me there.
It's like $1 million moves. Like, look, Wes, Brian really hit you with $1 million move, and then like what's a $1 million move with a 10 finish. That boy be cooking, breaking ankles, doing spin moves.
Oh my God! Did you see that John Morant follow dunk yesterday? Holy cow! Savon, did you see it?
Yes, that shouldn't make no sense.
He said he grabbed it behind his head and then wham, yammed it over his teammate. Like, oh my god, that was incredible. Okay,
Throw the grenade, Ja.
Ooh! No, he's throwing his words out there and then not listening to what people say back. Don't get it twisted, Savon.
Goated celebration.
It's pretty good. All right, so that was where we're at. We talked a little bit about The Last of Us. We had What We're Loving. Savon highlighted What We Do in the Shadows on FX. Wesley highlighted Venom, both number 1 and 2. You can find, actually, I don't know where you can find them. Just look on streaming. And then Brian highlighted The Studio on Apple TV. So Savon, you're gonna have to subscribe to Apple TV here one of these days because there's some good shows on there, bro.
I'm bootlegging, baby.
Okay, or you can bootleg it. That's fine.
This is such an interesting recap to the episode. I feel like Wesley, the dad, is coming out. He's like, let's talk about what we learned in the story.
And well, I wanted to, wrap it up, put a bow on it. We got to put a bow on it. So there's your bow. And then a little teaser for what's coming up next. We should be in the next couple episodes talking about The Last of Us Season 2. We'll have had a few more episodes under our belt. And we want to talk about Andor, which is coming out. I believe they're dropping their first episode April 22nd. So actually, this show is probably going to come out after that. And they're doing 3 episodes every single week for 9 episodes. So we'll have a lot to talk about when we talk about that. We'll probably be 2/3 of the way through the show at that point. And we may or may not have Brian with us next time. He's a busy dude.
I might be dead.
It's just busy. Just not dead.
This is gonna have me killed.
This is not Final Destination, friends. This was a good one. I enjoyed it. Hopefully it hopefully you enjoyed it too. Tell your friends about our show so that we can get more listeners. Friends, we're out of here. See you later. Bye-bye.